Dagestani. These fighters are everybody's worst kryptonite. Obviously, people with this style come from Dagestan. They wrestled bears at the age of 9. Trust me, your takedown defense training from fight camp isn't going to work. Now, every Dagestani fighter has differences, but their main goal is the same: take you down and keep you down. If they grab hold of your legs, just go ahead and tap for me. They already won. The perfect example of this fighting style is Islam Makhachev. Islam trained under Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, Khabib's father, a coach who built his fighters around suffocating pressure, flawless transitions, and a pace that most fighters simply can't survive. There are a lot of great wrestlers in the UFC, but fighters like Islam are on a whole different level. We saw it against JDM. JDM's takedown defense against a great wrestler like Belal Muhammad made a lot of people think he could stuff Islam's takedowns and beat him. But boy, were they wrong. Islam had the perfect game plan. Destroy the calves early to limit JDM's movement, strike just enough to make him comfortable with striking, and then, in a minute and a half, shoot for the takedown. The faces JDM made when Islam was on top were honestly sad. You could tell he never faced someone of this caliber. He knew it was over. The sniper. You're like the bear at 50 cal. Patient, composed, and when it lands, the fight's over. All it takes is one hit, and your opponent knows it. That's why they're scared to let their hands go. One thing I know for sure, you can't train to be a sniper. You either got it or you don't. The perfect example of this fighting style is Carlos Prates, the top smoker in the UFC, and arguably one of the most exciting fighters right now. He hunts fighters like prey. He doesn't throw recklessly, he waits for the right openings. His accuracy is incredible, hands, elbows, knees, everything is aimed precisely to drop you. The guy oozes confidence, and honestly, I would too if I had his gift. His most recent fight against Leon Edwards at UFC 322 was insane. He knocked Leon out cold in the second round with a vicious straight right, leaving him smiling on the canvas. That shit was hilarious. You know Carlos' stand-up is elite when a striker like Leon is forced to abandon his striking and turn into a grappler. Jitz Wizard. This is wrestlers' worst kryptonite. They're comfortable on the ground, like fish in water. They know your entire body's anatomy and its weak points. Think of any body part, and I promise they know how to use it to submit you. You can't escape their guard. 1 minute you're on top, thinking you have the upper hand. Next, the ref is telling you you've been submitted. Breathe. The perfect example of this fighting style is Charles Oliveira, with a whopping 17 submissions in the UFC. If you take him down, be ready for his ground game, and get your hands ready to tap, or you're going to sleep. Charles is also a certified backpack. If he decides a fighter needs to go to school, he'll jump on their back and get the job done. His striking is also very good, short, compact, and doesn't overextend. Even if fighters catch him, they know he's still a threat on the ground, so they tread lightly. Charles' most recent fight against Mateus Gamera at UFC Rio showed just how comfortable he is on the ground. Gamera shot for a single leg takedown just 30 seconds into the fight, and Charles calmly accepted it, immediately locking up a guillotine. When it didn't materialize, he seamlessly transitioned to an omoplata, leading to a high-level grappling exchange that lasted for the remainder of the first round. By the second round, Gamera completely abandoned his wrestling game plan, clearly wary of Charles' dangerous ground game. Swarmer. They're like a swarm of bees, relentless pressure, high volume punches everywhere at once. They don't wait for mistakes, they create them, and punish instantly. 1 second you think you can escape, the next, you're buried under the storm. The perfect example of this fighting style is Max Holloway. Max has insanely fast hands. You throw one, he throws three. That's why he's so confident pointing to the ground near the end of a fight. More volume means the odds are stacked in his favor. If you cover up, thinking he'll eventually stop throwing, you're sadly mistaken. His most recent fight, headlining UFC 318 against Dustin Poirier, was incredible. Dominating someone as elite as Dustin on the feet showcased just how good Max truly is. It was clear that Dustin had no answers for Max's relentless pace and volume, and that pointing to the ground scrap towards the end was the cherry on top. Cardio weapon. They have a third lung. 5 rounds is nothing to them. The goal isn't to hurt you, it's to tire you out. They don't rest between rounds, they don't slow down. The perfect example of this fighting style is Merab Dvalishvili. The guy is literally a machine. He sets the pace, and you have no choice but to comply. That's exactly what he wants. We've seen it time and time again. The early rounds seem competitive, but as the fight goes on, one fighter starts to fade. And one thing's for sure, it ain't the machine. Counter assassin. You think you finally found an opening to throw. Don't. It's a trap. Oh shit. Counter assassins have mastered the art of feigning. They're just waiting for you to take the bait, and once you do, game over. The perfect example of this fighting style is Anderson Silva, the Spider. Silva was ahead of his time. Every feint, every counter, every movement was calculated, like he could see a step into the future. He would even drop his hands completely to make his opponents comfortable, baiting them for the counter. I can only assume he took this technique from the great Muhammad Ali. Next we have subscribe. This is the best style to have. So do it.